Hi everybody, we're going to be reviewing for our adverb test for tomorrow. I just want to kind of go through some things and make sure that we feel a little bit more comfortable with our topic. Alright, so first of all, remember an adverb, it describes the verb telling how, when, where. So let's look at an example here. Finally, my sister and I left the house. So finally, my sister and I left the house. We look for the action. What's the action of the sentence? Finally, my sister and I left the house. Well, we left, okay? So how did we leave? When did we leave? We finally left. That idea of describing more about the left part. Finally doesn't describe sister and I, but finally describes how we left, or actually when we left. We left finally. Okay? The house does not describe left, because the house is telling where we left from. It's not describing left. Okay? So finally, one of those adverb words. We've got a list of them in our books. I would ask you to go over those lists that are in your books in the adverb section, so you become very familiar with the adverbs. Remember, there's also adverbs. We say that the adverbs that end in ly, a lot of your ly words are adverbs. Slowly, quickly, finally, those words are all adverbs. Okay? All right, let's go to the next page. I opened the present and looked inside. Our actions, opened and looked. Here we have opened, and I also looked. So I want to look and see. Those are my actions, not my adverbs. My adverb tells me how I opened, when I opened, or where I opened. Or it could tell me how I looked, when I looked, or where I looked. So I opened the present and looked inside. So there's not anything that tells how I looked, when I looked, where how I opened, when I opened, or where I opened. How I looked, nope. When I looked, no, it doesn't say tomorrow, yesterday, today. Where I looked inside. So inside is my adverb, because that tells me more about where I looked. I looked inside. So that's the where part about it. So it's an adverb. A lot of times, not always, but a lot of times that adverb will come right after a verb or shortly thereafter. Words like finally, like we had on the last page, that one could come first because it's more of that transitioning word. So sometimes you'll see it there, but most of the time we'll see an adverb right after our verb or close to it. So if you can find that verb and look after it, you're going to see maybe that's an adverb. If it doesn't describe how, when, or where the action happened, then it's not an adverb. Okay? Let's look at this. We all sang loudly. So what's our action in this sentence? Okay, if you guessed sang, you are correct. That's our action. Now we want to find the adverb. We find the adverb by looking at how, when, or where we sang. How, when, or where we sang. And loudly is our answer, because how we sang loudly. Remember, I said most of the time it comes after that verb, and here's an ly word. So we have both the idea of after the verb and an ly word. So how we sang loudly. All right, next part that you're going to come to on your test is comparing with adverbs. She arrives blank than Tim. So we're comparing two people, just two. So she arrives soon than Tim. She arrives sooner than Tim. She arrives soonest than Tim. And our choice would be sooner. We use sooner in this case. She arrives sooner than Tim. All right? Our next one, the turtle walked blank of all the animals. Now the adverb they have here is slowly. Slowly. I can't change this to slower or slowest because that's changing my base word. If it had the word slow, then I can use slower or slowest. But if I have the word slowly, then I have to use something like slowlier, slowliest, more slowly, most slowly. Okay? The turtle walked most slowly of all the animals. Most slowly. Reason why of all tells me I need to have that. When we have a more or most situation, all means we're comparing more than two, so we use the word most. We went through this in the adjective section too. The turtle walked most slowly of all the animals. Not slowliest. We could use a different phrase. Probably would have been better to use a different phrase for that one, but it works here. Anyway, if you have mostly what I'm trying to say too is if you have an ly ending, you are most of the time going to use more or most in front, and you can't change it to an est. You can't say slower, slowest. If it has an ly, we have to keep an ly part to it. Okay, that's gonna be one of those things that we see. When we're using words, we want to use it So like if we had swiftly, we would say more swiftly or most swiftly, not swiftlier or swiftliest. Okay? ly most of the time have a more or most in front of them. Okay, next page here, you're going to go to the good versus well section. Good describes a noun, well describes a verb. Okay, so this is where you have to really look at your sentences. He is blank at drawing pictures. Well, the is telling me I'm connecting something to the he. Is tells me I'm connecting something to the he because there's no other type of action right after. It's not a helping verb this time. It's a linking verb. So we say, he is blank at drawing pictures. Well, I'm connecting it with, I'm connecting this word to he. Is he a noun or is he a verb? He's a noun. So because he's a noun, we use the word good. He is good at drawing pictures. Okay, let's look at another example. She bakes blank. So bakes is my word here. So if bakes is an action, and I have to think about what word do I want to put in there then. Actions, okay. Well describes a verb. Good describes a noun. She bakes, bakes how? Bakes well. She bakes well. Not good. She bakes well. Because we're describing her baking, and that's an action. Those are blank cookies. Those are blank cookies. So we're looking for a word that's going to describe the cookies. If it's a word that's going to describe the cookies, that's a noun, so we use the word good. Those are good cookies. A lot of times in these, we can hear it, sometimes not, but like she bakes well, he is good at drawing pictures, not he is well at drawing pictures. She bakes good, no, she doesn't bake good, she bakes well. Those are good cookies. Sometimes we can hear it, but look at our phrasing up here. What are we doing? Good describes a noun, well describes a verb. So try and figure out, am I describing an action, a verb, or am I describing a noun over here, or like here, am I describing a noun over here? Look at those things to help you to determine good or well. Although we did a good job on that on our work. All right, another part that you did a really good job at is this part. There isn't no or any paper left. There isn't no paper left. There isn't any paper left. And our choice would be any. If I already have a negative up here, then we can't use the negative in here. Okay? If I said there is blank paper left, then there is no paper left. But there isn't any paper left. You don't want that double negative thing going on. The stores are or aren't not open today. There's a tricky one where you have to make sure that you're reading your sentence correctly. The stores are not open today. The stores aren't not open today. Well, here's a double negative. The aren't and not. And in a situation like this, we don't cross out a word that's already stable in the sentence. We just have to choose this word or this word. So you choose are, and then the stores are not open today. Okay? So make sure you're reading your whole sentence, and then choose your right answer. Prepositions were the next thing we learned about. Preposition is a part of a phrase, and it shows connection between words. A lot of times it shows a position. We're connecting two different things. And once we find that preposition, we can find it'll be part of a phrase. That preposition is part of a phrase. So the dog crawled on the couch. I would try and find my preposition, sometimes a position. The dog crawled on the couch. On is my preposition. On. You can think of, the positioning. Where is it? On the couch. The prepositional phrase, on the couch. It starts with the preposition, it ends with the object, and it has all the little words in between. On the couch. That's my prepositional phrase. My preposition is on. It's connecting the dog to the couch. Connecting the dog to the couch. The dog crawled on the couch. Okay? So the prepositional phrase starts with that type of word that's going to connect that part of the sentence to this part of the sentence. And it always ends with some type of object. Here's another couple of examples we'll look at. The boy talked during the movie. What's our preposition? Well, here, the is an article, boy is our noun, talked is our action. So that leaves during, the, or movie, that would be our preposition. The word that is the connecting word is during. During is the connecting word. The prepositional phrase, during the movie. Starts with the preposition, ends with the object, during the movie. That's our prepositional phrase. Okay, what is it connecting? It's connecting what the boy did during the movie. So during the movie is being connected back to the idea of when the boy talked. Okay, that's the connecting word there. He jumped over the fence. Preposition, again, a position, over. Okay, prepositional phrase starts with the preposition, ends with the object. So we have over the fence. Over the fence. Over the fence, over is connecting what he did. He jumped over the fence. So the fence to he jumped. It's connecting what he jumped over. Okay. So prepositional phrases during the movie, over the fence. The prepositions themselves, during, over. Okay. It's always going to have some type of object after it. The prepositional phrase will. So if you see something that's like he showed up is not a preposition in that situation because there's nothing that it's connecting. There's no other words past that. So it's not a connecting word. At that point, it's an adverb. All right. You will also have some connections of corrections right here. So we have a couple mistakes in here that we need to find and we need to correct. Now, when you're looking for mistakes that you need to correct, what you need to look for is one sentence at a time. And remember, we have to think about the things that we've learned about, because the corrections will come in with just the things that we've learned about. So, let me get my pen all set here, and we'll make some corrections onto our, let's see if we can do it this way, onto our screen here. Okay, many days the cats will play together. Did you see any mistakes there? Nope. Tabby runs quicker than Stripes. Any mistakes there? Yes, there is. Okay, so Tabby runs quicklier. Here's our mistake. Quicklier. So quicklier is not, whoopsie, let's go back here. We just kind of zoomed ahead. Okay, quicklier is not the word that belongs there. I am comparing Tabby with Stripes and how they run, but it doesn't run quicklier. We would say Tabby runs more quickly. More quickly. I know we could say Tabby runs quicker than Stripes, but we can't, because this has that I-E-R ending. So that means I'm looking at a ly ending. I can't just change it to quicker. I have to use the quickly word there. So Tabby runs more quickly than Stripes. All right. Hopefully you see why I did that. He runs around and scares the other cats. Any problem with that? He runs around and scares the other cats. Nope. All right, how about the next one? Stripes behaves good. Stripes behaves good. Any problem with that? Okay. Some of you might have saw it. Not good, but he behaves well. We need the word, whoops, that didn't look good. Let's go back and undo that here. All right. He behaves well. Behaves is an action. We're describing the action. We're saying about his action. So it has to be well. All right. If it was good, it was Stripes, Stripes' good behavior, that would be different, but not behaves well. She doesn't have no real issues with other cats. Any problems there? She doesn't have no real issues with other cats. There is a problem, right? She doesn't have any real issues. Or maybe you'd want to just cross it up. She don't have any real issues with other cats. No, I probably would make a couple changes there. Let's just see what other changes we could make. What would be another way we could say that? That sounds actually better. She doesn't have any real issues with other cats. So we would have to actually change that to doesn't. Have real issues with other cats, and I would put any to make it sound better. She doesn't have any real issues with other cats. That would be the ideal situation. Okay? That's a double negative. We'd have to change it out to have a single negative. And you can't change the meaning of the words either. Out of all the cats, Stripe is the quieter. Out of all the cats, Stripes is the quieter. How many cats are we comparing? All of them, right? Not just one, not just two, but more than two. So instead of quieter, we want our word quietest. Quietest. Okay? All right. So that's the type of thing you might run into on your test when it comes to doing some corrections of things. All right, these next pages are for 5th graders only, so if you are in 4th grade, You may turn off the video if you want to keep watching, that's just fine. But for fifth graders, here we go. All that other stuff was for fourth grade and fifth grade. Now we just have a couple more things for fifth graders. Pronouns in a prepositional phrase. Will you help with Kathy and blank? When you are looking at these, your prepositional phrase starts with, right? Take out the other person and then and then try and figure out what goes there. Will you help with he? Will you help with him? And because it's an object of a prepositional phrase, we use the word him. Him. Okay? Will you help with him? Will you help with Kathy and him? All right. Next one. Our friends will be behind Roy and blank. All right. Let's take out Roy and. Our friends will be behind I. Our friends will be behind me. Me. Okay. So the idea, the object of the prepositional phrase is going to be an object pronoun, like him, or me, or her, or them, not he, she, or us. We're not changing that. We're not going to make it a us thing. All right? We're going to keep it with a two-person situation. All right, next one, adverb or preposition. This is, I think, where most of us had a little bit of an issue, so I really want to talk about this. So an adverb is describing the verb. We've already said that. The preposition is connecting things in a sentence or giving position. A preposition is going to be part of a prepositional phrase, which means it'll have some type of object after it. Now, sometimes there's an object after an adverb, too. But let's look and see, how can I determine whether it's an adverb or a preposition? So our first sentence, I looked down and saw a mouse. All right, so first, I look for a word that I think might be an adverb or a preposition. And it's going to tell, if it's an adverb, it tells who, it tells when, where, or how. Okay, so I see a word that tells me how. And it also shows position. And that word is down. Okay. I looked down and saw a mouse. Now, I need to decide, is that a prepositional phrase or is that an adverb? So an adverb describes or modifies a verb. Where are my verbs? Here's a verb. Here's a verb. Looked down. Okay, that tells how I looked or where I looked. So it's going to be an adverb. It also does not have a phrase after it that ends in that, like if it, right here, it doesn't have down a mouse or down the hole or down, down under the ground. There's nothing it's connecting with. It's modifying that verb. I looked down. So it's an adverb in this situation. Okay? It's not a preposition. It's not connecting. It's telling how I looked. The car raced down the road. The car raced down the road. I have the same word down here, but down the road. That's connecting how that car raced. It raced where? Down the road. It's going to give me an entire phrase. So in this situation, because it's the word down, and it's connecting that part of the sentence with the road, it's going to be a preposition. And if it's a preposition, it should have a prepositional phrase. Down the road is our prepositional phrase. Okay? So the car raced, not down, the car didn't go down like it's going down the stairs or anything like that. It raced down the road. So this whole thing is a prepositional phrase. It's not describing how it raced. It's connecting the road to the car racing. The next one, neighbors raced by the house. Neighbors raced by the house. I have to find my preposition or adverb, and the word that I see there is by. Okay. Now, is there another subject shortly after the word that I circled? Yes, there is. By the house. By the house. Here's our person, place, or thing again. House. House is a person, place, or thing. By the house is my entire phrase. Since it's an entire phrase like that, it's being used as a preposition. I'm not saying neighbors raced by, and that would mean that how did they race? They raced by. Or where did they race? They raced by. It's telling me that it's connecting the neighbors racing. Where did they race? They raced by the house. If it's a whole phrase like that, then it's the preposition. Okay? If it's in a phrase like that, it's a preposition. If it's not, then it's just a word that is modifying the verb, and that's what we call an adverb. Okay? You have examples in your book about this. I would go back over the adverb or prepositional or adverb or preposition page, and then maybe even look in the back where they have more practice after the chapter review. All right? Hopefully we'll do well on the test with this, and I hope this at least helped a little bit in understanding more about adverbs and prepositions and how they're used.